Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'll be previewing our preseason game, our week 1 preseason game against the Jets on Saturday, which is tomorrow. I'll give you guys 5 things to watch and more. So, if you guys are new to my channel, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm on the road to 4K subs. If you could, hit that sub button, I'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so the first person that I'm sure most of you guys will be watching for anyways, why most of you guys will be turning on the preseason game against the Jets anyways, is Jayden Daniels. Obviously, super important to see how he plays against the Jets. I mean, it's important, but kind of also not important, because if he plays well, then cool, he played well. But if he doesn't play well, then that's okay, because I don't know if the Jets are going to play the starters or not, but it's the preseason. Last year, we know C.J. Stroud struggled in his first preseason game against the Patriots. He threw an interception in like one of his first three passing attempts. So if he plays bad, if Jayden Daniels plays bad, it's okay. It's preseason. It's good to get his feet wet. It's good to make those mistakes now. So come regular season, he won't make those mistakes often. But a couple of days ago, obviously, we know that Dan Quinn, he announced Jayden Daniels as a starting quarterback going against the Jets. He will probably be named the starting quarterback for the season, week 1. It's just a matter of, when he does that. But I'm super excited to watch Jayden Daniels this weekend. Obviously, yesterday against the Jets, enjoying practice. Didn't have the best day. He was actually not 4 for 15. He was 7 for 15. And he had 25 passing yards. Most of his completions were checkdowns, screen passes, throws to the flat. So he couldn't really do much because obviously 3 out of his 5 offensive linemen, starting offensive linemen, Brandon Coleman, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley, did not participate in 11v11 drills. So, he just couldn't do much. And the Jets have a really good defense overall. So it makes sense as to why he didn't have a great day against the Jets. Enjoyed practice yesterday, but hopefully he will have a pretty solid day against the Jets in preseason. But if he doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter. It's the preseason. Good to make mistakes now. I don't even know if the Jets are going to play the starters. I know they're not going to play Aaron Rodgers, but they might decide to, play the starters for maybe a couple of series or maybe a quarter. We shall see, but I'm super excited to see, how Jayden Daniels performs against the Jets, how his decision-making looks, if he'll, throw 2 guys in the flats, maybe do a couple of screen passes, go downfield. We'll see, but overall, Jayden Daniels, his preseason debut will be fun to watch. Moving on to the guys that are going to be protecting Jayden Daniels this season, the offensive line. And our O-line was pretty bad yesterday against the Jets. Trent Scott, he was getting bullied yesterday by the Jets edge rushers. Jermaine Johnson, I know they got guys like Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Hassan Reddick, he was not practicing yesterday, but they also got some other guys as well. That Jets defensive line is absolutely stacked. And Trent Scott, he was getting bullied the most, really. But you also had Chris Paul and Mason Brooks starting at left tackle sometimes, because Brandon Coleman, he didn't practice yesterday, which is an absolute bummer. I mean, I don't even think the Jets starters are going to play tomorrow, which sucks, because if Brandon Coleman does play tomorrow, he can't go up against their starters. He can't get a real test against elite defensive linemen, which the Jets have. So, that sucks because I really wanted Brandon Coleman to get that test, especially yesterday and during practice. But, he couldn't because he was injured. Well, he didn't practice. I think he has like a left shoulder injury. I'm not sure. He was spotted with something like some tape on his left shoulder a couple days ago in practice. So I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what the injury is with Brandon Coleman, but hopefully he'll be back soon, because he doesn't want to miss any more reps. We're going up against the Dolphins in our preseason game next week, as well as a joint practice, and they got some really good edge rushers as well, defensive linemen as well. So he does not want to miss that joint practice at all, in my opinion. Andrew Wiley also didn't practice yesterday. Well, he did in individual drills, but just not in team drills, 11v11 drills. That stuff right there. So him, Brandon Coleman, and I think Sam Cosmi as well, those 3 did not participate in team drills, which is kind of why the offensive line looked really bad yesterday. If those 3 did participate in team drills, I think our offensive line would have looked a lot better. But we'll see how they protect Jayden Daniels tomorrow. And if the Jets do play their starters tomorrow, we'll see how they, go up against the Jets starters again in our actual preseason game with them. And the fact that we had guys like Mason Brooks and Chris Paul having to fill in at left tackle yesterday for Brandon Coleman just shows how bad our tackle depth is. So hopefully we can bring in some, tackles maybe in the preseason training camp, whatever, before the season starts, because we just need better depth I feel like that's one area in which we didn't do a ton of this offseason. I mean, we just brought in Brandon Coleman through the draft, re-signed Cornelius Lucas, and that's really it. I know we signed tackle Alex Taylor the other day, a couple days ago, but I feel like we just need another tackle or two because our tackle depth right now is just not great. Next up, we gotta talk about the receivers, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to see what receivers step up tomorrow because one guy I would like to mention real quick, Bryson Tremaine. He's been having a phenomenal training camp so far. He's been like the first guy showing up onto the practice field every single morning, so that's really good right there. He has that mentality of, doing everything he can to try and make this roster. And so far, like I said, he's been looking really good in camp. I mean, he's had a nice connection with Jaden Daniels. He's caught a couple deep balls, including yesterday. He caught a deep ball. I'm pretty sure it was from Marcus Mariota that time, but it was a really nice play. The Commanders posted it on their social media page, so it was a really nice play from Mariota to Bryce Tremaine. So, hey, man, he keeps doing what he's doing throughout camp and in the preseason. I feel like he has a pretty good chance to make the roster. I mean, he's done nothing but everything he has to do to make this roster. So, hey, man, if he doesn't make the roster, I feel like he's going to make the practice squad. I think we brought him in as an undrafted free agent either last year or in 2022. So he could be this year's Mitchell Tinsley. Mitchell Tinsley has also been having a nice training camp so far. So them two, they could make the roster. Either one of those two could make the roster, but we shall see. Because right now, I feel like our only four locks is probably Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Olamide Zaccheaus, and then De'Ami Brown. Olamide Zaccheaus, he's our wide receiver 3 right now, solid wide receiver, but that could pretty much change anytime soon. Maybe De'Ami Brown becomes our wide receiver 3, or maybe Jamison Crowder. We'll see. There's a lot of possibilities, but I feel like those are our only 4 locks right now. So last 2 spots, I feel like Jamison Crowder, as long as he does a good job, showing that he can still return a little bit, being a solid punt returner and or kick returner, then I feel like he will make this roster. And it's just going to be down to that last wide receiver spot because I feel like we're going to keep 6 wide receivers, so it's going to be down to that last wide receiver spot. So might be up, in the air right now. I feel like Bryson Tremaine, Mitchell Tinsley, maybe a guy like Byron Pringle, Marcus Rosemy-Jackson, Catherine Allen. Any one of those guys could get those 6 wide receiver spots. So, we'll see what happens. But I'm super excited to see what the wide receivers got in store for us tomorrow. Next up, we have our secondary. And I want to focus specifically on our cornerbacks because it's really going to be important to see how our cornerbacks, perform tomorrow. Obviously, we have our rookie, Mikey Sanderstill. I'm super excited to see how our Mikey Sanderstill plays during the preseason. Obviously, he's one of our starters. He's going to be our starting nickelback or slot cornerback. And I feel like in a year or 2 from now, he's going to be one of, if not the best, slot cornerback in the NFL. I feel like he's going to be an all-pro, Pro Bowl slot cornerback and nickelback one day. So I'm really excited to see what Mikey Sanderstill does in tomorrow's game against the Jets. Now our outside cornerbacks, Emmanuel Forbes. We need to see him have a really, really good game tomorrow. Maybe not even a really, really good game, just a good game, like a solid, decent game. Because yesterday in joint practice with the Jets, he was really bad. I know he had that interception and he had like 1 or 2 nice reps against Garrett Wilson, but for the majority of the day, he was getting cooked by Garrett Wilson. I'm not really sure why we left him on Garrett Wilson all day long, but we did, and he was just getting baked by him. I mean, it was just bad. Tyrod Taylor and Garrett Wilson, Tyrod Taylor was just attacking Emmanuel Forbes, throwing the ball towards Garrett Wilson because he knew Garrett Wilson would constantly win against Emmanuel Forbes, which is bad. I mean, if you're getting attacked like that, that's no respect. And you have to earn your respect because if you keep getting beat and constantly getting beat, you just won't gain your respect, which is not good. So Emmanuel Forbes needs to play better, and I want to believe in Forbes, but it's just getting really hard at this point because he just keeps getting beat. He constantly keeps getting cooked, so it's just hard to defend him. But hopefully, this season, it's a make or break season for Emmanuel Forbes at this point. Hopefully he performs this season like really well. If he doesn't, then we just got to move on from him. It's just over for Forbes. We should have drafted Gonzalez, but it is what it is at this point. So, Forbes, he needs to have a really good season this year or else we're going to move on from him. Benjamin St-Juste, he and Michael Davis are our outside cornerbacks. Our starting outside cornerbacks according to the depth chart, which I don't mind at all. I feel like Michael Davis, I think Michael Davis will put up solid stats for us this season, and then hopefully Benjamin St-Juste can bounce back from last season because he showed some promise in 2022, but this past 2023 season, he was not really good at all. And then our safety, super excited to see what Jeremy Chin and Quan Martin can do tomorrow, as well as our backup safeties as well with Tyler Owens, Dom Hampton, and then Percy Butler too. All right, and then finally, I feel like this is something that every Commanders fan should be watching tomorrow in tomorrow's preseason game, the kicker competition. Ramiz Ahmed versus Riley Patterson. This has been a very, very mid kicker competition. They both haven't been really good at all, to be honest. Riley Patterson yesterday, he went 3 for 5. Yesterday, Ramiz Ahmed went 2 for 5, which is really bad. He missed all of his kicks. All 3 of the kicks he missed were from 40-plus yards, which is really bad. We gonna need you to make those 40-plus yard kicks, those long kicks. And Ramiz Ahmed, I mean, he's coming from the UFL, by the way. He was a backup to Chris Blewett in the UFL, which is really bad. So if you're a backup to another kicker in the United Football League, I mean, do I really have to say anything else? So I feel like as of right now, I think Riley Patterson is going to win it. But, man, we might need to bring in another kicker because this is a very mid-kicker competition. Maybe they'll be better, in actual games and not in, practice, because I know yesterday it was raining. It was a whole monsoon, but you're going to play in worse conditions. So we need one of those guys to step up if we're not going to bring in another kicker. I feel like we should bring in another kicker or two, maybe if one gets cut in the next couple of days or weeks. So we'll see, but we're going to need one of those guys to step up because it's looking really bad right now. If I had to place money, I mean, I really want to place money because both guys are bad. I mean, not looking great right now. I wouldn't say bad, but they're just not looking great right now. But if I had to place money, I'll probably place my money on Riley Patterson just because he's more experienced. He's been in the NFL like, 3-4 years so far. He was pretty good this one season with the Jaguars and with the Lions. But, man, we just need one of these guys to step up big time because right now, kicker is super important. I feel like not enough people are talking about that because we already know with Joey Slye, he was missing kicks left and right, field goals left and right, extra points left and right. So we just need a reliable kicker that's just going to make kicks for us, all right? And hopefully, Ramiz Ahmed and Riley Patterson can be that for us. But if they're not, then go out there, find some more kickers, bring them in for the kicker competition, and see what else they can do. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment down below what you guys are looking forward to watch in tomorrow's preseason game against the Jets. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.